Hello, fabulous people, and welcome to Spotlight. And in today's show, the spotlight will be on Abby Cho. Abby Cho is a Hong Kong socialite, multimillionaire, and she used to be an amazing, super amazing social media influencer, and she had a lot of likes and views on her Instagram and on Facebook. And anyhow, I just love this woman because she was able to raise her status to the point that she was invited to all the prestigious shows in Paris and Milan and New York. She was always in the front row of the shows of Christian Dior, Valentino, Louis Vuitton. And not only was she invited, but she was actually, she was given free stuff by these companies because they knew that she was a great influencer, and a lot of people who were hungry for fashion, who were fashionistas, just kept on following her on her Instagram and on Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter, wherever, whatever platform she was on. And she was just a super amazing woman. And you're probably wondering why I keep on saying was, because something quite unfortunate happened to Abby Choi. And she was not only a great fashion influencer and slash model, and I also forgot to mention that she was such a big influencer that she graced the cover of L'Officiel and Harper's Bazaar and all these fashion magazines. But one day, Abby Choi mysteriously disappeared, and they found her a few days later. And with that, we are going to take a short commercial break, and I will be right back with the rest of the intriguing story of Abby Choi. And welcome back to the second segment of Spotlight. And for those of you who missed the first part, my topic of today is about Abby Choi, and she was a fashion influencer, Hong Kong socialite, multi millionaire. And like I said in my first segment, Abby was missing in Hong Kong in February 21. She was missing. And then they found her a few days afterwards. And Abby, let's just say, that was really not in a very good state. Now, before I get to the bombshell revelation, we're going to backtrack a little bit and see what's going on with Abby Choi and her family and her ex-in-laws. Okay, so we'll backtrack a bit. Abby Choi was married with her former classmate, Alex Cow, and, or am I pronouncing it right? I think it's Quao or something like that. Anyhow, so she got married to him, and they had 2 children, and she bought a $10 million condo for the husband and for the children and for her in-laws as well. The in-laws were living there as well. Now, a few years later, Abby divorced the husband and found another man who was in a much better financial status. the next guy that she was with was a multimillionaire in Hong Kong who owned a lot of noodle houses in Hong Kong. So as this was going on, bear in mind that her in-laws were still living in the $10 million condominium that she bought for them in a neighborhood called Tai Po. So, I mean, this story doesn't get any better, but it's really quite intriguing. And when I found out about this, I could not sleep at all. I could not sleep at all, and I just can't believe it. Anyhow, to go on with my story. So, as years went by, Abby decided to sell the $10 million condominium and decided to relocate the family to a home that's much closer to her daughter's school because her brother-in-law, who became her chauffeur, would pick up the daughter every single afternoon, and this was their daily routine. And so the family, of her ex-husband, went into some financial trouble, and they didn't want to get out of that condo unit. And sources also say that Abby used to fund them because they had no other source of income. Imagine they were sponging off and smooching off of her. And so what happened, she spoke to her ex-in-laws and told her that they were about to be relocated, and that didn't really go well. As a matter of fact, from one news source says that, and they were able to speak to one of Abby's friends, and she told them that the father-in-law threatened Abby and told her that he was going to kill her if they would be relocated to their new place. So anyhow, like I said, there was an afternoon routine of them, picking up Abby and then going to the girls' school, and they would pick up the girl and bring her home. So that was every single afternoon. And so one day, as the routine was supposed to go, she mysteriously disappeared. And then, so they called the cops, they called everyone in Hong Kong who could help them out, the investigators, and they found her body dismembered in an apartment that was rented by the father-in-law. And when they went inside that apartment, everything was covered with plastic, and there were black raincoats, and there was a meat cleaver, an electric saw, and a giant knife. And it was just crazy. They covered everything up, and they clearly turned the entire apartment into a butcher shop. And the only person that they butchered was Abby Choi. So when the police went in there, they were shocked to see dismembered bodies of Abby Choi. They opened up the fridge and they didn't see the type of stuff that we would put in the fridge. They saw her legs in the fridge. And when they went to the oven, there was a big pot, two pots. One was with decaying flesh, and then the other one, obviously they boiled the head of Abby. I'm so sorry to say this, to the point that what was left was just her skull, and that's all that remained. And I think the hair was still intact. And to add insult to injury, one pot, I think that the same pot where the head was, had carrots and some vegetables that were in that pot. So I'm thinking, this is like one of the most horrible crimes, not only in Hong Kong, but of the entire century. And this is the reason why I couldn't sleep that night. The first time that I found out about it through another fashion influencer, and she said, "Oh, I was looking forward to meeting her, but this happened." Well, yeah, I guess you're not gonna be able to go anywhere if your entire body. I'm sorry. I don't mean to make light of this, and I really grieve for Abby Choi and the people that love her. And she left 4 kids, 2 from her previous marriage and 2 from her current marriage. And by the way, the ex-brother-in-law who became her chauffeur used to go with her to private parties, and she even took him to Paris in all their parties and fashion shows and all that. And she would even lie to social media and go to the extent of saying, "Oh, she is my sister." But is this how you repay somebody who's given you a $10 million condominium? And not only that, you were also, being funded almost every single day, and you were given a job, and you were given a pancake house. And so Abby loved her in-laws to the point of sacrificing herself. And I'm just thinking, was it all worth the sacrifice in the end? Because clearly her in-laws were all cold-blooded murderers. And and before this murder, Alex, her ex-husband, was also a scammer, and he scammed a lot of people and told people that he had a gold business, and he was able to scam people to the tune of $5 million. So he was running away from the law. Oh, and guess what? And the best part is that her ex-father-in-law was the head of police in Hong Kong. So it really gets better. So they really knew what they were doing when they orchestrated this crime, covering that entire apartment with plastic and black raincoats and face shields. So they knew what they were doing. And they also found a big hole on the back of her skull. And, maybe they gave her a big blow before they committed all those atrocious acts. I am truly beside words right now, and I am sincerely grieving for the loved ones and the family members and Abby Cho. Rest in peace. You will forever be in my heart, even if I found out about you only a few weeks ago. I mean, this really bothered me, but this is not the end of my coverage of Abby Cho, because this coming May will be the deposition of the court case. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that they caught Alex, the ex-husband, who was trying to run away on a speedboat with $100,000 in his bag, $100,000 in cash, and they caught the guy who was also driving the speedboat, and also they caught the mother for obstruction of justice. So they caught the father-in-law, they caught Alex and Anthony, and they also caught the mom. And I'm thinking, oh, they caught everybody else in the family, including the cat and the dog. I'm just kidding. But anyhow, it's just one crazy murder case. And I'm pretty sure that you guys didn't think that my spotlight would end this way, but I just had to cover this because this really disturbed me. It disturbed me right to the core of my being. So there you have it for this day, and rest in peace, Abby Choi.